Problem 6.4 in your student packet starts on page 145 in your textbook. For this problem, we will be recording transactions into the general journal. Please take a minute to look at the chart of accounts on page 145. These are the accounts that you should be using for this problem. We're going to start recording these transactions on page 1 of your general journal. And on the first line of every general journal page, you're going to first start by writing the year under the date column. So record that right there. Looking at the first transaction for January 1st, it says wrote check 310 for the part-time secretary's salary, $270. So if you go up to the chart of accounts, the two accounts that are affected are salaries expense and cash and bank because a check was written out. We are adding the salaries expense to the business, so salaries expense is increasing. And for expense accounts, the debit side is the increase side. So, on the second line of the general journal, you're going to write the date this transaction has taken place under the date column, so January 1st, and you can abbreviate, so JAN period is acceptable. Then under the description column, your debit is salaries expense. You're going to left align it in the column, write out salaries expense. We're not going to worry about the post reference column at this time. And then under the debit column, you're going to write $270. On the next line, the third line, you're going to write the credit, and in this case it's cash and bank. Don't forget that all debits start first in the general journal and credits are second, and credits are indented. So you will see that we have the credit, cash and bank, on the second line of this transaction, and it's indented. We won't worry about post-reference at this time, and under the credit column you're going to write $270. Then on the third line of this transaction, you're going to write the source document, and in this case the source document is the check 310 that was written, and you should center that in the description column. Moving on to the second transaction, January 3rd, it says bought $2,000 of camping equipment on account from Adventure Equipment Incorporated, invoice 320. So camping equipment was purchased, so we know that the account called camping equipment is affected. And then because this was purchased on account, we also know that accounts payable is affected. And in this case, the equipment was purchased from Adventure Equipment Incorporated, so the account name is Accounts Payable Adventure Equipment Incorporated. We are bringing camping equipment into the business, so that's our debit. So the first line should be the third, the number 3 under date, and this represents January 3rd. The debit is camping equipment, and you left align it. Under the debit column, you're going to write $2,000. The credit is going to be Accounts Payable Adventure Equipment Incorporated. Remember, you can't put just AP for accounts payable. You have to have, at the very minimum, ACCTS period PAY period. Also, because it's a credit, it's indented. And then under the credit column, you're going to write $2,000. The source document will be written on the third line of this transaction, And the source document for this transaction is invoice 320. And you should center that in the description column. Go ahead and complete the rest of problem 6.4 and then bring it to me to check.